Our Denver Broncos are off to a strong start here in season number 3. We're currently 4-1. We're riding a 3-game win streak, and it looks like we might have the best defense in the NFL. Today we've got a doubleheader facing off against the rookie quarterback, Avery Johnson, leading the Seattle Seahawks. And then we're headed to Arrowhead to face off against the big, bad Kansas City Chiefs, who have beaten us within our last 4 head-to-head matchups. I feel like our team is in a really good spot, and we are proving that last year's long win streak at the end of the season was not some fluke, and this team looks like a legitimate contender atop the AFC. We're 4-1. We have been unbelievably good defensively. Obviously, last year we had a strong defense, largely because of the pass rush. This year it's been the total package, though. The run defense has been maybe the best in the league, and we're not allowing points. In the last episode, we let up 14, 7, and 14 against the Niners, Cardinals, and Steelers, winning all 3 of those games by multiple possessions. Along with the doubleheader, we've got a prospect profile, our first of the year. We're going to be going over the quarterbacks in this year's draft class. And it's certainly an interesting crop of QBs because we've had a lot of highly drafted ones in this series. We saw 5 go in the first round at the 2025 draft. We saw 6 go in the first round last year. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. Definitely our weakest quarterback class yet, but I'm excited to dissect the group. Obviously, we've got Bo Nix leading the way for us, and he's been pretty good so far. I thought in the last episode he played well in all 3 games after kind of struggling to open up this year. It's obviously been a mixed bag so far with Bo. He showed some good things at the end of last year, and obviously he was terrific in our playoff win against Buffalo. But the conversation shifts with Bo a little bit. At first, it was, is he good enough to be a starting quarterback here in the pros? And I think the answer to that question is yes. But now the question is, do we want to extend him long term? Accounting for the 5th-year option, we likely have him under contract for 2.5 more seasons. By the time that would be done, he would be 29 years old without much room to grow. So the question is, can Bo Nix reach a higher ceiling than this and or play well into his 30s? And if the answer to either of those questions is no, it doesn't hurt to think about adding a legitimate quarterback prospect. Here in this class, there's only one guy slated to go in the first round right now, and because of that, he's the projected number 1 pick, by virtue that there's no competition, and that's Dante Moore from the University of Oregon. Dante is 6'3", 215 pounds in his 3rd season starting at the collegiate level, 2nd with Oregon. He's the total package at the quarterback position. He's got size, he's got accuracy, he's got arm talent, he can run. But above all else, when you're looking for a quarterback to lead your team, you want someone who can win some ball games. And Dante Moore is a winner. Led Oregon to a national title a season ago, winning the college football playoff MVP in the process. He was terrific across the 4-game playoff, most notably their double overtime national championship victory against Texas A&M, where Dante Moore was the one who scored the game-winning touchdown with his legs. He's carried it over to his senior season, and while his numbers this year aren't necessarily spectacular, they are quite good. He's limited turnovers. He's only thrown 1 interception through the first 5 games this year for Oregon. A season ago, he threw for 40 touchdowns. He threw at least 3 scores in all 4 college football playoff games. He's also one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country in terms of completion percentage and average yards per attempt. He doesn't miss many throws, and he pushes the ball downfield. Dante Moore is in a class of his own with the other quarterbacks in this class, and that poses the question, who's next? We got a lot of guys projected on day 2. Some of these guys, their stocks are going to rise. They're going to go in the first round. Others will falter. And we'll start with Ja'Cory Brown out of UCF, who has been a major riser through the first few games of the year. 6'4", 220. He's got a rocket of an arm, and he is the best rushing quarterback in the draft. Coming into this year, I would have said that there's no way Ja'Cory Brown is considered for the first round. He was a very average at best passer a year ago, but his linear improvement has been very noticeable. 63% completion percentage to 76. He hasn't thrown an interception all year. He's pushing the ball downfield. And when you have someone with his athletic traits who just gets consistently better, it's hard not to bet on them. Look at Jalen Milroe going at the top of the draft a couple years ago. He had otherworldly athletic traits and got consistently better at Alabama. And I see something similar with Brown, whose stock could continue to rise, as could Jackson Arnold's. His stock has also gone up throughout the year. He might be the best play extender in this draft. His ability to evade pressure, throw out of sacks, throw on the run. I don't think there's a quarterback in this class, not even Dante Moore, who excels under pressure and off script like Jackson Arnold does. And in today's NFL, you need somebody who's able to make throws off platform, under pressure, looking for second and third reads when the offensive line breaks down. Arnold's play hasn't necessarily been consistently at the level of a five-star, though, especially last year where he really wasn't all that good. Had a great sophomore season, struggled as a junior, but he's been a lot better here as a senior, rebuilding some of his draft stock that he previously held. Let's move over to the biggest name in this draft, Arch Manning, the next Manning to enter the NFL. Peyton went number 1, Eli went number 1, but not Arch. And why is that? Entering college, Arch was the number 1 recruit in his high school class, and he was supposed to eventually be a number 1 overall pick. This is now his second season as a starter at Texas, and he has been painfully average. He hasn't been bad, and he is certainly an NFL prospect given his physical gifts. He's got a rocket of an arm, he's accurate, he can run, he can move around in the pocket, but it just feels like there's a lot of meat left on the bone watching him play. He doesn't have that it factor to him. Texas has lost 3 games in a row this year, and much of that has been him not stepping up to the moment. Let's look at Jalen Raynor from Arkansas State, one of my favorite small school guys in this year's class. You don't necessarily have to play in the SEC to be a good quarterback prospect, and Jalen Raynor shows it. A little bit undersized at 6'2", 204, but he's extremely accurate. This is another very mobile quarterback, very good off script. He doesn't necessarily have the elite arm talent. I think that's what really holds him back, along with not playing against the best of competition in the Sun Belt. But he's accurate, he makes plays in structure, out of structure, and he doesn't turn the ball over. Only 12 interceptions since becoming the full-time starter at quarterback in 2024. He hasn't been picked off once yet this year, and I'm curious to see if he's going to keep things going. He currently is the Red Wolves at 5-0. Malik Murphy is a fascinating case. Started his career at Texas, transferred to Duke, where he's been the starter over the last 2.5 years. He has the prototype that NFL teams drool over. 6'5", 240 pounds, rocket arm. He's the biggest quarterback in this class, and his arm talent is amongst the very best. So why is he not projected higher, given his theoretical athletic ceiling? Well, he just hasn't really put it together at Duke. The production has been subpar, and he has a 9-20 record over the last 2.5 years as a starter. I get it's a team sport, but the quarterback is the one who leads the team. 4-8 as a sophomore in 2024, 3-9 last year, and he's only 2-3 so far this season. Max Brown of Charlotte is the final quarterback projected here to go in the top 100 picks. Another small school guy, but another player who I think NFL teams are absolutely going to have on the radar. 6'3", 225 pounds. His mix of athleticism and accuracy is really impressive. He is dynamic with the ball in his hands, and if it doesn't work at quarterback, I could definitely see him moving over to another position and being successful. He's also one of the most accurate quarterbacks in this draft. It's been a bumpy road, though, at Charlotte. As a sophomore, he was fantastic, completed 75% of his passes. That mark went all the way down to 60 last year. He had a rough junior season, but he's picked it back up here as a senior. 20 touchdowns to 1 interception, much like Jackson Arnold. Really good 2024. Not as good last year, but has been fantastic this year. All 6 of these guys behind Dante Moore have a case to potentially rise into the first round with Dante, but none of them are there yet. I think Brown and Arnold had the best chance to rise up there. Obviously, Arch Manning, given his name, his pedigree, and his upside, will certainly be in consideration as well. But what about the day 3 guys? I think it's a deeper quarterback class than last year, if nothing else. Certainly not as top-heavy. But there are some good players projected after pick 100. Some names I want to highlight include Byron Brown, the quarterback out of the University of South Florida. 6'3", 230 pounds. Another guy who has the physical upside that you look for. Strong arm, and he can run. He's another guy who's a little bit more raw at the quarterback position, which we're seeing with a lot of guys projected in this range. Teams who are wanting to take a shot on upside, a dart throw, and maybe it works out. Byron Brown has been highly productive at UCF, but he's been a little inconsistent at times. His passer rating has gotten worse each season. This year, he only has a touchdown-to-interception ratio of 8-5, but he's also had his best season as a runner. He's a true dual threat, but it's just a matter of consistency with him. Johnny Shepard from Rutgers is a guy who's improved tremendously. Last year, he threw over 20 interceptions. This year, he's been a lot better. Noah Fifita from Arizona is certainly polarizing. We got to watch him yesterday in the Kansas Dynasty, where he led Arizona to the win over our Jayhawks, and while he threw 2 interceptions, he was 19 of 22 otherwise, scoring on every drive that he wasn't picked off. Fifita's polarizing because he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in this draft. He's one of the smartest quarterbacks in this class. He's one of the most experienced, now in his 4th season as a starter, and he's been highly productive ever since he touched the field for Arizona. Given production alone, he's the best quarterback in the draft. But here's the problem. He does not have elite arm talent. He's not overly mobile. And he's small, 5'10", 193. He does not have any athletic traits that you look for at the quarterback position, but he's a really good player. At the very least, I think he has a high floor in this league as a journeyman backup who's going to stick around for a while, but I don't think he's ever going to become a great starter. Behind him, you got Gunnar Stockton from Georgia, and that brings us to MJ Morris from Maryland, who to me is quite polarizing. In the previous episode of the Kansas Dynasty, I said that he has a chance to make a run for QB1 in this draft class before getting shut out against Dante Moore in Oregon. But after crunching the numbers, I think I may have overrated him quite a bit. The number that stands out the most is his age. He will be 25 years old when he makes his NFL debut. Not ideal. Along with that, his accuracy over the last couple of seasons has been very spotty. He has struggled to complete over 60% of his passes, and much of that's because he's a gunslinger. He looks to go downfield, but he doesn't consistently hit the short stuff. Nonetheless, I do still think he's a really fun prospect. He's got solid arm talent, solid under pressure, off script, makes some really big throws, and he has led a renaissance at the University of Maryland. The Terps were contenders for the college football playoff last year. This season, they were undefeated before losing to Oregon. And again, the production's been inconsistent. This year, I think he's been a little more efficient, completing 65% of his passes. He's only been picked off twice. He's done a better job of keeping the ball out of harm's way. And if he continues to play well, I think his stock will rise up. Maybe not in the first round, but he's certainly a sleeper to watch out for. Nonetheless, I think I might have overhyped him a little bit, partly because I've just really enjoyed his story and following his career at Maryland. Nonetheless, it's a fun QB class. I'm expecting a lot of movement throughout the year, and when we look back in the offseason, a lot of those guys projected in between 30 and 100, their stocks are going to change completely. So let's look at this matchup against Seattle. As you can see here by the team stats, 2nd scoring defense, 3rd passing defense, 2nd rush defense. We have been unbelievably good on that side of the football. Everything is clicking. The coverage has been fantastic. The run defense has been fantastic. But we've been a little shaky on offense, I feel like. We've won with our offense, not because of them, and that includes the run game. Let's try to really run the ball well here against Seattle. These guys want to attack Derek Hall and force him to make plays. I think success would be Ashton Jeanty getting 125 yards. And as we look at Jeanty's season so far, I don't think he's been all that good through the first 5 games. Last year, Ashton Jeanty was absolutely fantastic when he was healthy. Our team wasn't very good the first half of the year, but he was one of the best running backs in the NFL before tearing his pec and missing the remainder of the season. This year, I feel like he has regressed quite a bit. A lot of the big explosive plays we got from him as a rookie haven't been there. Zamir White has been more dependable. We've gotten the big runs out of Bo Nix. Genty has not played well during our 3-game winning streak. Over the last 2 weeks, he is averaging 3 and 3.2 yards per carry. Maybe 125 yards is unrealistic. That would probably require him to get the ball 20 to 25 times. I think that's a lot, but we'll see what happens. If we have the lead, we'll be running the ball a lot late. Let's look at it that way. So Seattle's 3-2. They've been a lot better than they were last year, where I think they only won 3 games entirely. They've won 2 in a row, beating the Rams and the Eagles on the road. They're in the midst of a 4-game road trip, so that could hurt them in some ways. Of course, at quarterback, they're led by Avery Johnson, the 2nd overall pick, and a guy we're very familiar with out of the University of Kansas State. He's an 82 overall, which is already higher than Bo Nix. His development trait has not been revealed, but as I said during the draft episode, he's the only player in the class with Superstar X Factor. So far, he's been quite good. A lot of the young quarterbacks in our league have struggled so far, but he has been quite solid. Part of the reason is because he's got one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL with Kenneth Walker, who has been unbelievably good so far. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry and is 2nd in the NFL in rushing. I don't think it's a question of if we can stop their ground game, though. The answer to that is yes. We just faced off against the number 1 rushing offense in the NFL with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the leading rusher in the NFL, in Najee Harris, who's averaging 5.4 yards per carry, and he only got 2.7 yards a pop against us. So we absolutely had the ability to limit Kenneth Walker. It's just a matter of if we're actually able to execute. DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba lead the receiver room, along with the recent addition Devontae Adams, and they've got some intriguing young guys, including Moody Rubin, the undrafted rookie out of Kansas who made the final roster. This team's strength is on the outside with their playmakers on offense and the secondary on defense. Billy Bowman has developed really well at safety. Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, the talented cornerback duo. And then Dalen Everett, the rookie drafted in the 2nd round out of Georgia, who is amongst the NFL's top ball hawks already. Should be a fun one here in Week 6. A big test for both of these teams who have sort of become rivals in some way, very unconventionally, obviously not being in the same conference. But it started in Super Bowl 48. We're not going to remind Bronco fans what happened in that game. Then the Russell Wilson trade. We're not going to remind Broncos fans how that went either. But we beat Seattle a couple years ago in our opener, the first game of the series. And we're looking to do the same again as Genty loses 5. And that's Derek Hall who brings him down. The guy who we were supposed to game plan around as he makes a big play, forcing a giant loss. 3rd and 6, short throw caught by Jonnu Smith. With a big play after the catch, he gets 14. That was supposed to be a gain of like 7. We were just focused on getting the first down, but it turns into a really nice gain. Play action. Nix under pressure on the run. He's got Mims, who brings it to the 40. Not an easy play to make with 2 guys in his face. Good coverage by Devin Witherspoon. It's going to be a big test here for Mims, matching up with Witherspoon, one of the best young corners in the NFL. 3rd and 2. Genty's got it, and he will not get the first down. Jerome Baker brings him down shy of the yards to gain. 4th and inches at the 31. You know what we're doing. We're going to go for it. Zamir White gets the ball to the outside. He gets around 3 or 4. That's enough to gain the first down. It says something, though, that on 4th and inches, we trust Zamir White to get the first down as opposed to Ashton Genty. Now at the 17 in the red zone, Bo Nix looks to throw it under pressure. He's got Jonnu Smith, and he is in for a score. What a throw by Bo Nix under a ton of pressure on the run, threading the needle. The booth is going to take a look at this one. I think Jonnu got both feet in bounds. So why don't we take another opportunity to appreciate beauty? I feel like the offense has been very average so far this year. So it's good seeing us march right down the field, getting some early points as we take a look at the Seahawks offense, led by the number 2 overall pick, Avery Johnson, who has certainly outplayed the number 1 pick, Cade Klubnik, with the Browns. 2nd and 10. Johnson under pressure. He is sacked by Nick Bonito. It took over 4 games for the reigning Defensive Player of the Year to get his first sack of the year. But he got 3 last week against the Steelers. It looks like he's finally back as he gets another one here. 3rd down and 19 now for Seattle. Johnson goes short, and it's only a gain of around 2 for the former Bronco, Noah Fant, drafted in the 1st round back in 2019 out of Iowa. part of the Russell Wilson trade package. Denver back with it. Very good opening 5 minutes, but that could have been catastrophic. Bo Nix thought that Julian Love was going to be in man coverage and he was going to go on the slot receiver, but instead he's in zone. Jumps the route and should have gotten the interception. We dodged a bullet. Seattle with it. Here's Davante Adams on second down. Down the sideline. Brings it all the way to the 2, where he's wrapped up by Surtain. A gain of 35 for Davante Adams, and the Seahawks are marching on the doorstep. First and goal. Kenneth Walker is in for a score. Very good opening few minutes for the Broncos, but that has evaporated quickly with a near interception and a touchdown drive for the Seahawks. We're knotted up at 7. Denver's got it back, looking for a better drive here, hoping for some points like the first possession. Franklin in motion, RPO. Franklin's open, jukes away from the defender. What a move by Troy Franklin as he brings it to the 46-yard line with just around 30 seconds left in the quarter. Franklin is in motion again. Nix looks to throw it, rolls out to the right. He's got Mims, who makes the catch, gets by Woolen, and is past the 30 to the 26. Another hot start for Mims, who continues to be one of the NFL's top receivers. And that will wrap up the first quarter. We've got a good one so far here in Denver, knotted up at 7. The Broncos are moving it nicely. Overall, I think the offense has been pretty good thus far. Bo Nix, who's had 3 good games in a row, is off to another nice start, minus the near pick 6 that we don't have to talk about. So that'll bring us into the second quarter. 2nd and 6 at the 21. Play action again. Nix hit as he throws. It is caught by Franklin. Keeps his footing. Breaking tackles to the 4. That was a risky throw, but Troy Franklin makes another really nice play. And now it is a 2nd and goal at the 3. Nix looks to throw it. Clean pocket. Wide open. Marvin Mims in for a touchdown, and the Broncos regain the lead. Bo Nix only threw 7 touchdowns through the first 5 games of the year. I think that passing touchdowns isn't the best metric to use, but he's already got 2 here in the first half as Seattle has it back. At the 39 on 2nd and 10, here's Davante Adams again with another really nice play as he brings it to the 42. Couple of big gains so far for Adams. The old man showing he's still got some left in the tank. 2nd and 4th at 24. Seattle's moving it well again. Read option. Johnson keeps it. We know he can scramble as he gets it to the 14-yard line for a gain of around 10. Avery Johnson with another strong drive against the NFL's top defense as on 2nd and goal. Johnson flushes out, has room, runs it in. We're tied at 14. Back-to-back touchdown drives by Seattle. I feel like our coverage has not been great so far. Avery Johnson has not thrown an incompletion as we've got it back with a little under 3.5 to go in the first half. 2nd and 5, Genty up the middle, gets the first down, has extra room, and he brings it to the 44-yard line. A good run there for Ashton Genty that'll keep the chains moving. Following play, here's Nix, under pressure, scrambles to the right side, on the run. He's going to keep it himself. Franklin was wide open down the field, but he figured he would take the easy 20 yards, not having to worry about completing the pass. 2nd and 8 at the 37, following the 2-minute warning. Nix, under pressure, rolls out to the right, looks to run with it again. He's got space, and another first down. Bo Nix, I feel like, has had more explosive plays on the ground, really dating back to the end of last year. I think he's been watching some Clyde Poole film. At the 24, Nix under pressure, pocket collapses, and he is sacked. Uchenna Nwosu brings him down. 3rd and 9 now, 50 to go in the half. Nix looking deep downfield, it's broken up for Savion Williams. That's Billy Bowman Jr., the second-year safety out of Oklahoma, with the play. 40-yard field goal try for Will Lutz for the lead is up and through. Denver back ahead 17-14 in a high-scoring game. We haven't seen many of those throughout the year. One more chance for Seattle. They've got around 30 seconds and a timeout. Johnson steps up, and he is hit hard. Jeffrey Bossa brings him down. He's been flying around the field in the first half. 9 tackles and a sack. As on 3rd and 4, they get the first down. They call the last timeout. But look at the clock. They're only going to have enough time for one more play, and they're just going to run the ball. Odd. So that'll wrap up the first half. I feel like Seattle could have tried to send it down the field. I know Avery Johnson's weakness is his arm strength, but I think he can throw 60 yards. He did in the playoff game last year against Oregon. 17-14 your score going into the break. It's been a fun game so far. Both quarterbacks playing quite well. As we take a look at our halftime report across the rest of the NFL, we're going to start things off with our division rivals, the Los Angeles Chargers, who are in the midst of a strong season. They're headed out to Santa Clara to face off against the Niners, who are not having a strong start to the year so far. It's been a defensive battle here, but this ridiculous touchdown catch by Joshua Palmer has the Chargers up top 10-7. That might be the play of the year so far. Holy moly. The Niners have won 2 in a row ever since they dropped to 0-3 after their stinker in Denver against us. So it seems like they are playing better. We'll see if they can make it 3 in a row. One of the biggest stories in the NFL this season has been the emergence of Jalen Milroe. He would lead the Jets to a blowout win over the Vikings, with the star of the show through the air being Malachi Corley. 6 catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. As for Milroe, he has improved so much since last year, where the Jets were one of the worst teams in the NFL, gifted as a top 5 pick. Thanks for that, by the way. But this year, they've been so much better. They're 4-2. They've already practically matched their win total from last year, and it's been because Milroe's gotten so much better. I can't say the same for the guy drafted directly after him, Jalen Daniels, but he would lead the Raiders to their first win of the season, 27-19 over the Dolphins. Jalen Milroe has certainly been better this year than Jalen Daniels. The former Jayhawk has yet to live to the pre-draft hype, but he's had a couple good games this year. Now he's finally able to get a win. We'll see if he's able to build off of it and emerge like his draft classmate, Jalen Milroe, or his college rival, Avery Johnson, have been able to do. It's been a good start for Avery Johnson in this one. He's 12 of 12. Granted, he's averaging less than 10 yards per completion. He's thrown a lot of checkdowns, but he hasn't missed a throw. He's been very efficient. As for Bo Nix, he's also been really good. 9 of 12, pushing the ball down the field, off structure, under pressure. But the run game, again, continues to be lackluster, and we need more from the offensive line and Ashton Jeanty. Defensively, we've got another victim. Last week it was Najee Harris. Today it's Kenneth Walker. The run defense has been unbelievable again, but the pass coverage has been soft. Avery Johnson looks short. He's got Kenneth Walker with room after the catch as he brings it to the 46, wrapped up by Jeffrey Bossa, who's already in the double digits in terms of tackles. He's been flying around the field, not just today, but all year. I've been very impressed with Bossa this season. Kenneth Walker to the outside. Finally, a nice run. He had just 9 carries for 22 yards in the first half. That one goes for 13. 2nd and 10 for the 41. Johnson finally throwing an incompletion. Gets this one to Davante Adams. Going backwards. Now he's got space and there's nobody in front of him. Cooper cannot catch up. A 41-yard touchdown for Davante Adams. And the Seattle Seahawks take the lead. This is the most points we've led up since week 1. And there's still 7.5 minutes left in the third. So the Broncos have it back, trailing for the first time all day, as Bo Nix is sacked off the blitz. Byron Murphy saw the play action coming from a mile away, and Nix had no time whatsoever. Denver punts it. Seattle has it back. 3rd and 14. Johnson goes short. It's Noah Fant, who will get the first down. That's unacceptable. You can't let them convert on a 3rd and 14. The coverage has been really soft in this game. Now it's a 2nd down from the 38. Johnson scrambles with it, rolls out to the right, looks to run with it, gets the first down, and is wrapped up at around the 25-yard line by Drew Sanders. Avery Johnson's been really impressive. He looks like the real deal. Seattle's got themselves a quarterback. On the read option, Avery Johnson keeps it to the left, fights his way in for a touchdown. His 2nd rushing score of the afternoon, and the Seahawks add to the lead as he's doing cartwheels in the end zone. What a game so far from Avery Johnson. 28-17, 3rd and 2 for the Broncos. Nix with a flag on the play, lofts it up, and it's intercepted by Julian Love. I guess the thought process there was the play's probably going to be dead anyway. Might as well throw it up, see what happens. Worst case, it's an arm punt, and that's exactly what happens. Holding on Ben Powers, Seattle declines. So the interception stands, but really not that bad of a play. 2nd and 3 at the 46. Final play of the quarter. Big throw up the middle. It's DK Metcalf past the 20 before he takes a shot from Ronnie Hickman. And DK is hurt on the play. That is not good news for Seattle. He goes to the locker room. Obviously one of the key cogs of this offense. But otherwise, a really good quarter for Seattle. We struggled on both sides of the field. The offense got nothing going. The defense right now looks exhausted, and that's proven to be a problem. Our defense has been one of the best in the NFL, and we're getting torched by a rookie. Into the fourth, 1st and goal, the fullback loses a couple of yards. Drew Sanders sniffs it out immediately. 2nd and goal, Johnson floats it up, it is caught! The first career NFL touchdown for Kansas Jayhawk, Moody Rubin, and it's 35-17. That is a 10-year veteran-type throw by Avery Johnson. He floats it up over 3 Bronco defenders, right where his receiver can get it. The Kansas State Wildcat connects with the Kansas Jayhawk. Who would have thought? And look at that score. Seattle's up by 3 possessions. Nick sacked again on 1st down. It's Ashton Gillette, the former first-rounder out of Louisville. 2nd and 15 now. Nix has nobody open, throws it up, and it's picked again. It's Dalen Everett, the 2nd-rounder out of Georgia, inside the 10 before he takes a shot from Bo Nix. For Everett, that's his 3rd interception of the year, tied for the league lead. And for Bo Nix, who had only thrown 2 interceptions all year coming into this game, he's now got back-to-back drives with interceptions. 3rd and goal, Johnson, corner of the end zone. It's Moody Rubin once again. What a job Moody Rubin's done in relief for DK. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. The booth would review it. The play would stand. I'm happy for our guy Moody Rubin, but I'm not happy for our Denver Broncos and our 2nd-ranked scoring defense, who has now allowed 42 points. Granted, on that drive, Seattle started at the 6, but still, not a good game defensively. 3rd and 5, Zamir White gets nothing. Down by 25 points with 6 minutes to go. We have no choice but to go for it. To think we were winning at halftime. Wide open is the rookie Chris Brazzell. He is out of bounds. Brazzell, of course, with a big game against Arizona. 7 catches for 117 and 2 scores, but he's been quiet otherwise. 2nd and 10 up the middle. Marvin Mims has got it to the 34. I feel like our receivers here in the second half, though, have done a really bad job of getting open. We are really missing Tez Johnson. This play case in point, and Bo Nix does a nice job of stepping up in the pocket, running for the 1st down. But this Seattle secondary is putting the clamps on right now. 3rd and 7, Nix goes short. He's got Ashton Gillette with the 1st down. Jukes away from the defender, Tariq Woolen, and he gets it to the 3. 1st and goal, Gillette powers his way through in for a score. That was a nice drive in what's been an underwhelming second half. We get something going here offensively, but we're still down by 3 possessions. Might as well go for the onside kick. It is quickly recovered by Davante Adams, who's only gotten the ball a handful of times, but his impact has been made clear. 3rd and 6 here for Seattle. We're not using our timeouts yet. Avery Johnson looks to throw it, scrambles with it, and he is sacked. Wrapped up on the play by the veteran Cameron Hayward. So the defense forces a stop, and the Broncos will get it back on offense. We would let the clock go to the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 10 from the 20. Nix looks to throw it, under pressure, rolls out to the right side, hoping somebody gets open, but he's going to run with it. Another big gain on the ground for Bo Nix. He gets 16. If these receivers are not going to open up, he's going to keep scrambling. Following play, under pressure, rolls out to the right again, wants to throw it this time. Mims is wide open. He's got to get up or out of bounds, and he can't do either. I think Mims was expecting to try to fade out of bounds, but there was nobody near him. He could have turned that into a touchdown. 2nd and 13. This pass is intercepted again. Jerome Baker picks it off, and he's got nobody in front of him. Bo Nix looking to catch him. He cannot. A pick 6. And Seattle is inching towards a 50-burger to clinch this game. 49-24. Denver's got it back. 4th and 9 up the middle. Marvin Mims has got it to the 20. Trying to add some extra points for pride at this point because we're not playing for anything more. Potentially the final play of the game. 2nd and goal at the 4. Nix scrambles with it to the left. Looks to run with it. Puts his shoulder down, and he is in for a touchdown at the buzzer. Chris Paul hits huge 3 to cut the lead to 43. I would imagine the over-under in this game was a lot lower than 80. Plenty of scoring here. Our second-ranked scoring defense allows 49 points. What I'm about to do is going to be surprising. You would think the defense allowing 49 points is where the blame is going to go. And yes, they could have played a lot better. But I actually think this one's kind of on the offense. We scored 17 points in the first half and we're playing really well. And then we went blank in the second half. And the biggest reason is that the receivers could not get open. Seattle's secondary was unbelievable. Bo Nix got sacked 6 times because nobody was open, and he had to run for his life. He was intercepted 3 times. Some of those, like the interception by Dalen Everett, was his own fault. The last one, I think, on the pick 6 by Jerome Baker was largely because Jonnu Smith could not create any separation. Now again, the defense does deserve some blame. Avery Johnson-Cook does. 25 of 28, he was unbelievably accurate. Bo Nix, meanwhile, with a very inefficient second half, he was picked off 3 times. Bo Nix is a lot like Clyde Poole in the sense that both guys start games really well, and then as the game goes along, they get worse. It's weird. Kenneth Walker was quiet on the ground, but so was Ashton Jeanty. Both quarterbacks ran it well. Bo Nix had over 70 yards, and Avery Johnson scored twice. We had a lot of drops in this game. Again, the receivers were not great. Marvin Mims did his thing, but he could have been better in the second half. Everybody could have been better in the second half, while Devontae Adams led the way for Seattle. Nick Gargiulo was horrible. Thank God Rasheed Walker is going to be back this week. Andrew Thomas lets up another sack. I'll be honest, Andrew Thomas has not been the acquisition I thought he would be. He has been incredibly disappointing. Defensively, Seattle lived in the backfield. 2 sacks for Murphy, 2 sacks for Gillity. And we just did not send enough pressure. Yes, we got 3 sacks in this game. And the run defense was really good. We can't blame this too much on the defensive line. But it felt like Avery Johnson had a lot of clean pockets. Sam Mustipher, abdominal tear, will miss the next 4 games. Gus Hartwig will start in his place. But we will be getting Rasheed Walker back this week. Thank goodness. Here for our player storyline, of course, Ashton Jeanty did not run for 125 yards. He didn't even run for 50. He didn't play well in the first half, and then we barely gave it to him in the second half with Seattle's big third quarter. Around the rest of the league, the Lions finally won. I don't believe it. Players of the week, to no surprise, Avery Johnson's here, but look at Joe Burrow. 31 of 32, 364 yards and 5 touchdowns, along with Ty Wise and the rookie, Sonny Styles, who's been really good so far for the Browns. That brings us into a pivotal Week 7 game, coming off of a loss. We're headed to Arrowhead to face off against the Chiefs. After that loss, we are currently out of the playoffs. We're the 8th seed, and look who's directly behind us. 9th is Baltimore, 10th is Kansas City. So in other words, the AFC is very competitive, with us at 4-2 out, the Ravens out, and the Chiefs out. Our scoring defense went down from 2nd all the way to 10th after that one game. Granted, again, I don't think the defense was as bad as the scores suggested, but no, they certainly were not good. We let a rookie win the player of the week. The Chiefs have already played and beaten us this year at our place, 20-10, but they've been not so great since then. They have won just one of their last 3 games. They're coming off a bye week, though, so they've got some extra energy. They will be without Xavier Worthy, though. To be honest, I'm more scared of the Chiefs now than if they were 5-0. The Chiefs are going to be hungry. They need a win. They are due. They've won just once since beating us back in Week 2, and they know they can't fall further in the division. When the Chiefs have a game that they have to win, they generally win it. And with us coming off of our loss against Seattle, it doesn't really feel like we can afford to lose this game. Had we lost to Seattle, I would have been a little bit more okay if we dropped this one to Kansas City. But since we lost to Seattle, we've got to show up today, and it's not going to be easy. They are without Xavier Worthy, but we will be without Patrick Surtain, who got hurt in practice. And speaking of injuries, Patrick Mahomes is injured on the first play of the game. Going to the sideline, I think he'll be okay. But for right now, it'll be Caden Salter, the second-year quarterback out of Liberty, who replaces him. 3rd down and 3. Rashee Rice in motion. Salter up the middle. He's got Hollywood Brown for the first down. I imagine they're going to be looking his way a lot with no Xavier Worthy. Over the past few years, Worthy has played really well against us, a big reason why the Chiefs has won the last 4 matchups. Mahomes back in as he is sacked by Jonathan Cooper, just his 2nd of the year. He had double digits last year, but has been kind of disappointing so far this season. 3rd down and 6 now. Mahomes looks to throw it. He's looking deep, and it's broken up by Jeffrey Bassa. He was a little bit behind his former Oregon teammate Terrence Ferguson, but that gave him a quicker avenue to the ball. Good play there in coverage. Broncos with it for the first time. Up the middle, Jonnu Smith gets it to around the 40-yard line. A nice gain there by the veteran tight end who had some good plays and some bad plays last week, but overall I think he's been pretty solid. 2nd and 10. Nix connects. That's the running back, Zamir White, weaving through defenders, and he gets it to around the 31-yard line. Much like the game against Seattle, the Broncos are starting quite well on both sides of the ball, which is encouraging, but we've got to keep it going the whole game. 3rd and 10, short pass is caught, plenty of room to run, it's Brazel. Jukes away from Trent McDuffie and gets it to the 4-yard line as Donovan Izeriaku, one of the many young defensive linemen on this team, is hurt. 1st and goal, wide open in the end zone, guess who? Marvin Mims in for the touchdown. Mims is averaging over 100 yards a game this year. He's currently 3rd in the NFL in receiving through 6 weeks, only trailing Josh Downs and Keon Coleman. 7-0, very good opening first 5 minutes, but we've got to play well the whole game. Here is Isaiah Pacheco with a nice run. Pacheco's off to a good start. He's had 2 impressive runs against the NFL's top run defense in terms of efficiency allowed. Ferguson in motion. Mahomes rolls out to the right. On the run, he's got Rashee Rice. Jukes away from the defender. That was a violation. That man's ankles were sent to another dimension. That's Benjamin Morrison making his first NFL start in place of Surtain. Mahomes is sacked on 3rd down. Michael Williams is 3rd of the year. More on Morrison, though. I decided to start him over Savon Revel, who was drafted higher than Morrison last year. But Revel has struggled when he's played on the outside in the past. LT Overton, the rookie out of Alabama, is there with the sack on Nix. 3rd and 13. Nix's pass is batted down at the line. That's Overton again, making another nice play. Former #1 recruit in his high school class. As time is winding down here in the first quarter, roughly 20 seconds or so left to go. Mahomes, play action, looking deep. He's got his man. That's Hollywood Brown. I don't know what Colin Wright was doing on that play. Colin Wright has been about as good as it gets for a rookie corner in coverage this year, but that was not pretty. And with him being the #1 corner today, obviously he's got more responsibilities than ever. 7-0 through 1. Denver finds themselves ahead, but probably not for long. The Chiefs have it at the 1-yard line. It is a 3rd down, though, 3rd and goal. Mahomes looks short. He's got Ferguson, who is in for a touchdown. Terrence Ferguson, the 2nd-year man out of the University of Oregon, ties it at 7. So the Broncos get it back. Much like last week, our hot start proved to be a mirage. Let's hope we don't suck the rest of the way like last week. 2nd and 7. Nick's under a lot of pressure. Lofts it up. Wide open Franklin. He's got to keep his footing. That's a touchdown if he stays in bounds. Nonetheless, a ridiculous throw off his back foot with 2 guys in his face. I don't know how he got that wide open, but a really good play by Nix. 2nd and 4. Wide open again. Marvin Mims. Hollywood struts into the end zone for a touchdown. That drive saw some of the most pathetic coverage I've ever seen. That looks like Savon Revel at the end of last year. There's a reason why we're starting Morrison over him. Was Savon Revel traded to the Chiefs or something? 3rd and 6. Mahomes hit as he throws incomplete, and the drive comes to an end. Jeffrey Bassa, who continues to be one of the most improved players on this team, is there with the pressure. I continue to be amazed with his progression as a rookie now to his 2nd season. Nearing the 2-minute mark, Zamir White outruns Justin Reed and gets the 1st down, wrapped up out of bounds by Trent McDuffie, as that is Nick Gargiulo who's hurt. I don't know why he was in the game to begin with Rasheed Walker back at right tackle. Genty up the middle, nice run near the 50. Ashton Genty's actually played pretty well today. I'll give him credit. He has struggled as of recent, but he looks a lot more like rookie Genty throughout this game. Clock is still moving, around a minute and a half to go in the first half, 14-7. Nix looking for the sidelines. It is caught near the 10 by Savion Williams, the big-bodied receiver, with a nice play there, keeping the chains moving. And the Broncos have a chance to make this a 2-score lead. We'll see if we can do it. 1st and 10 at the 10. It looks like a screen, but Nix can't get rid of it. He is sacked by LT Overton, who's been all over the field. His 2nd sack of the first half. 3rd and 19 now. We're just going to run the ball here with Genty. Nice play to the outside. He's got to stay in bounds. Let's try to make the Chiefs flush a timeout, and they will anyway because they have an injured player. That is one of their defensive linemen. And that'll bring out the field goal team. Will Lutz from 30. That one is up and through. And so Denver is ahead 17-7. But the Chiefs have plenty of time. No amount of time is too little for this guy, number 15, Patrick Mahomes. However, it doesn't really seem like they're trying to do things too fast. We'll start with the 3rd and 3 at the 35. Mahomes with it, and he overthrows his man. That could have been a huge play for Marquise Brown. He had separation on Colin Wright. And so that'll wrap up the first half, 17-7. Overall, hard to complain with what we got out of that half. We're up by 10 at Arrowhead. The defense has been significantly better than last week. I was right to not be overly frustrated with the defense. I figured the game against Seattle was just a bad day and we would bounce back, and we certainly have. Offensively, we're playing really well too. So let's take a look at our halftime report. We'll start in Cincinnati. Justin Herbert and the Chargers currently 4-2. They've got the lead here over Joe Burrow and the Bengals, 17-7. If the Chargers win this game, they would move up to 5-2. Theoretically, if they were to lose and we beat the Chiefs, that would give us sole possession of first place in the division. It's going to be a tight 3-horse race the rest of the way. The Chargers are a lot better than they were last year. We obviously appear to be quite good, and, well, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Next up, a huge test for the Jets, who have been playing some good football, but they've got to play against Buffalo. Josh Allen's been the MVP so far. The Bills might be the best team in the league right now, and it's been a surprisingly low-scoring game. This touchdown by Keon Coleman, second in the NFL in receiving yards, is the only touchdown from either team here in the first half. Bills currently on top, 10-0. Jalen Milroe hasn't been bad, but it feels like the Jets have barely had the ball. The Bills are dominating time of possession. We'll wrap things up in Green Bay. The Dolphins coming off an embarrassing loss last week against the Raiders. And, well, they are taking their frustrations out on the Packers. 28-7, a dominant first half offensively for the Fins. Rough day in the office here for Green Bay. It's been a weird season in the NFC North with them struggling. They're currently 2-3, probably going to be 2-4. The Lions just won their first game of the year a week ago. The Vikings haven't been that good, and, well, the Bears are the Bears. So going into the second half, we cannot let our guard down. That's what we did last week, and we turned a 3-point game at the break into a game that was led by as many as 25 points. I think we ran the ball well. We've thrown it quite well. Bo Nix is 13 of 17 for 191 yards. But like last week, it can't be where he dominates in the first half and then stinks in the second half. He's got to play a complete game. As for the defense, we've got to stop Mahomes. We've done a really good job so far, but it's Patrick Mahomes. So as we return on offense, Marvin Mims leads the way. He has scored twice so far in this game, continuing an all-pro level season at receiver. 3rd and 9, Mims again up the middle. He's got the first down, bringing it past the 45-yard line. Nick's now 14 of 19, 205 and 2 touchdowns against one of the best defenses in the NFL. This is no easy feat to do it against Kansas City. From the 41, this one is caught by Jonnu Smith, looking to stiff-arm the defender. Really nice play after the catch as he gets around 20. It's been a highly productive day for Jonnu Smith, and he's not really in any danger of losing his starting job right now to the rookie Harold Fannin. Jonnu Smith has been a good player for us through the first third of the year. We've got a 3rd and 11 now at the 22. Here is Nix, rolls out to the left, under pressure. He probably should have looked for Franklin. Zamir White was also open, and he missed the throw, but if he got it to Franklin, they could have gotten the first down. 39-yard field goal try is good for Lutz. Not a great opening drive, but we scored. We add to the lead. It's now a 13-point game. Big possession here for the Chiefs. They've got to get something going. Mahomes downfield. He's got his man. It's Ferguson to the 28. He had a few steps there on Drew Sanders, who's certainly not the cover player that Jeffrey Bossa is. 2nd and 2 now at the 9. 4 to go in the third. Mahomes looks to throw it. Clean pocket. Runs around. Has space. And he dives in for a touchdown. We've got ourselves a game. The deficit down to 6. And Kansas City is right back in it. We'll see if the offense can respond. 3rd and 1. Nix looks to throw it, and his pass is off the mark for Marvin Mims. On 4th down, I decided to punt it away. I don't want to give the Chiefs great field position, and a big momentum swing. I trust the defense. They've been really good for the most part today. On first down, Isaiah Pacheco bounces off a blocker, stiff arms Moss, and is wrapped up by Marvin Grant. While the Chiefs are not scoring a ton of points and Mahomes hasn't been great, our run defense has had their worst game of the year. Isaiah Pacheco has been really good. 20-14 going into the fourth. We haven't been able to really stop the run for the first time all year, but the pass defense has been quite good. Mahomes hasn't been himself. He's missed some throws, but he's played well so far in the second half as the Chiefs look for the lead. 3rd and 7 at the 43. First play of the quarter. Mahomes looks to throw it, looks short, and it bounces off of Rashee Rice's shoulder. He was wide open. That's a gain of 20 if he makes that catch. He's got to see the ball quicker. Denver's got it now, 2nd and 5. Short throw for the rookie Fannin. Hurdles the defender. What a move by Harold Fannin Jr. He's had some solid plays early on, even though Jonnu Smith looks to be better. That certainly being one of them. What a play after the catch. Now Genty with it to the outside. Big gain for Ashton Genty. He gets around 20. Genty nearing the 100 yards mark for the first time this season. He has been really good today, but it has come at the expense of the rushing defense. 3rd and 4, Knicks with it under pressure from Chris Jones. On the run, tries to float it up, and it's nearly intercepted. That was dangerous. As Chris Jones is hurt on the play, that is not good news for the Chiefs. 52-yard field goal try for Will Lutz. He's 2 for 2 today. Doink! No good! He misses it. Will Lutz has been very good so far this season. I think that might be his first miss all year as it goes off of the left upright, and it remains a one-score game, and the Chiefs are going to get good field position nearing the 50 with 6 minutes to go. 2nd and 1. Mahomes hands it off for Pacheco. Finally, a big play from the run defense. I think that was Colin Wright with the initial hit. Nick Bonito finishes him off. I continue to be impressed with Colin Wright's ability in run support. He's been very good in coverage, but he's been unbelievable defending the run. 3rd and 3. Nice grab by Rashee Rice for the first down. Matched up in the slot with the safety, Riley Moss. 3rd and 6 with around 5 minutes to go. Mahomes floats it up, and it is broken up. Defended by Moss and Chris Abrams-Drain. The Chiefs are going to go for it. Interesting decision. I would have thought they would have kicked the field goal, but I guess they do not trust their defense. Mahomes looks to throw it, turns around. He's got Rice for the first down. He is wrapped up by Riley Moss. A big catch by Rashee Rice and a gutsy decision by Andy Reid to go for it. 4.5 minutes to go at the 25. Mahomes goes short. Another play by Rice inside the 5 to the 3. He was able to get a couple steps on Chris Abrams-Drain. It's been a huge drive for Rice, who was a little bit shaken up after the hit. 1st and goal at the 3. Mahomes, end zone, touchdown! Terrence Ferguson, his 2nd of the ball game, and the Kansas City Chiefs take the lead. Yet another game where we play really well on offense in the first half. We let our guard down, and the other team comes back. 21-20. Let's see if we can get a big drive from Bo Nix. All we need is 3, and we've got plenty of time with around 4 minutes to go. Starting with really good field position from a great kick return by Benjamin Morrison as his former Notre Dame teammate Audric Estime gets it to the 50. Now it's a 3rd and 5 at around the 46. Zamir White, the running back in the game. Nix has 3 to the right. Now Jonnu Smith is in motion, goes back to the right, looks to throw it. Nix has time. Now under pressure, goes deep, and it is broken up in the secondary. 4th and 5 at the 46. We're going to go for it after the deflection by Shamari Connor. Huge play here for the offense. This could be our last chance. Nix has an open man in Mims. It's overthrown and intercepted. Denzel Burke picks it off. Marvin Mims was wide open. That has to be, seriously, one of the worst throws I have ever seen in my entire life. Given the circumstances of where we are in the game, and given how easy of a pass that is, how did Bo Nix completely airmail him? That's an easy 5-yard pass. Pacheco now, down the field. Grant chases after him, but not before getting it to the 13. So Najee Harris and Kenneth Walker, who have been the 2 best running backs in the NFL, averaged like 3 yards a carry, but Isaiah Pacheco is doing this. Make it make sense. From the 13, Mahomes on first down goes short. Caught by Jared Wiley. He gets 10. We're going to use our second timeout as it's now first and goal at the 3. Touchdown and an extra point makes it an 8-point lead. Mahomes goes short. It's caught by Ferguson. Quickly wrapped up by Bossa. We're going to use our third and final timeout with 2:41 to go in the fourth. I'm not sure why the Chiefs are insistent on throwing the ball. They've ran it so well. Broken up in the end zone, incomplete by Chris Abrams' drain. That stops the clock. I don't get this from Kansas City. They've dominated on the ground with Isaiah Pacheco. Why are you throwing the ball? If you don't score, at least you'll take some time off. They do give it to Pacheco, and he is stopped. Who else but Jeffrey Bossa to bring him down? That's going to bring us to the 2-minute warning, and the Chiefs are going to kick what looks like a chip shot. 21-yarder here for Harrison Butker. His kick is delivered. His wife just probably delivered him dinner in the locker room. 24-20, so the offense will get one more chance. 2 minutes, no timeouts, no stupid turnovers, please, for the love of God. Bo Nix was unbelievably good in the first half, and he's been unbelievably mediocre in the second half with, again, one of the worst throws I've ever seen in my life. 3rd and 2, we go to the ground. Genty bounces all the blocker, gets the first down to around the 50. We've got no timeouts. Field goal does nothing. We need a touchdown. 3rd and 1, minute 13 to go. Nix rolls out to the right. He's got Mims, who gets it past the 25 to the 22-yard line. Big play. We go no huddle. 45 seconds to go. Play action. Nix looks to throw it up the middle. Who else but Marvin Mims again to the 8. We would get to the line and quickly spike it, clocking it at 17 seconds. This should give us enough time for 3 shots at the end zone. 2nd and goal. Nix calls an audible. He has no idea what he wants to call here. Obviously, we can't run the ball. Nix looks to throw it under pressure, and he gets rid of it. If George Karlaftis connects on the sack, that's the end of the game. Good job by Nix to throw out of that, and it's now 3rd and goal. Nix looks to throw. He's got Horn short. Christian Horn breaks the tackle, and he's in! The Broncos take the lead with 9 seconds to play. Bo Nix leads a game-winning drive with no timeouts, and it's Christian Horn with the go-ahead touchdown, his second catch of the year, and his second touchdown. Risky play to throw it shy of the end zone. I was trying to direct him towards the sidelines in case he didn't get in the end zone, but hey, that works. Now the Chiefs have 9 seconds, 3 timeouts, and all they need is a field goal. For Mahomes, that should be enough time. Problem is he goes short for Ferguson. It's a solid play of like 13 yards, but the problem is they're now only going to have enough time to go for a Hail Mary here with 3 seconds. Final play of the game. Mahomes under pressure has to get rid of it, and it is incomplete. Broken up by Marvin Grant, and that will do it. The Denver Broncos hang on to beat the Chiefs 27-24 with a game-winning drive by Bo Nix, who had a pretty rough second half otherwise, but you got to give him some credit. He played great early in this game and led the big drive when we needed it. The offense, again, I would have liked more, but we ran the ball well. Ashton Genty had his best game of the year, and you can't complain with 450 yards against the Chiefs. The problem is their rushing game played well too. Isaiah Pacheco was quite impressive. For Bo Nix, 23 of 39, he was inefficient in the second half, but he made big throws when we needed. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Again, maybe the worst throw I've ever seen in my entire life. As for Mahomes, he was fine, but he wasn't Mahomes. He was mediocre. Big game from Ashton Genty, big game for Isaiah Pacheco. Nix with another good game on the ground. Through the air, Ferguson played really well. Marvin Mims doing his thing per usual. 2 touchdowns in the first half, multiple big catches late. Horn had the touchdown at the end. The offensive line started off rough, allowing 3 sacks in the first half, but then none in the second half, which makes it all the more weird why Bo Nix was worse as the game went along. LT Overton ended up with 2 of those sacks. Denzel Burke, of course, had the interception. Nobody got hurt as well. We stayed healthy, and we're going to get Tez Johnson back next week. His impact has been missed more than we could have realized. Marvin Mims has been fantastic, but we need Tez Johnson back in the lineup. As we take a look at some scores across the rest of the NFL, the Chargers do win, so we do not hold sole possession of first place in the division. Players of the week, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jamel Dean and the rookie Maxwell Harrison. I don't think Bo Nix deserves the player of the week at all, considering he wasn't that good in the second half. He had the brutal interception. Yes, he had the big drive at the end. And I'm not complaining. I will gladly take the award, but I don't know. I don't agree. Anyway, huge game in the next episode. Primetime Monday Night Football against the Chargers for first place in the division. There is a lot riding on this one. I think we're also going to have another prospect profile. I don't normally do them back-to-back, but with how I've scheduled things for this season, the plan is that we're going to do the offensive skill position players in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.